How much longer are you going to pretend there's still time left?
What are you waiting for? Another year? Another version of yourself? Another moment where life suddenly feels easier? Deep down, you already know there are things you've been postponing for too long. Conversations, decisions, changes. But instead of facing them, you keep acting as if there's still unlimited time left. And that illusion is comforting, because believing there's still time protects you from the discomfort of acting now. So you delay. You distract yourself. You stay busy enough to avoid thinking too deeply. But life keeps moving quietly in the background. Days disappear faster. The same routines repeat. And little by little, the future you imagined starts becoming more distant. Not because you stopped wanting it, but because you keep assuming tomorrow will always feel more available than today.
One of the mind's most dangerous habits is believing time is emotionally renewable, as if opportunities naturally return forever, as if motivation, energy, health, relationships, and ambition will always remain available later. But psychologically, people adapt very quickly to postponement. The more often you delay something important, the more normal delaying becomes. And eventually, the mind stops treating hesitation like a temporary phase. It starts treating it like your lifestyle. That's why years can disappear without dramatic collapse. Most people don't lose their future in one catastrophic moment. They lose it gradually, through repeated small delays, repeated emotional avoidance, repeated decisions to deal with it later. And because nothing visibly breaks immediately, the urgency never fully arrives, until one day, the distance between who you are and who you wanted to become feels almost impossible to ignore.
Pretending you still have time is often less about time itself and more about emotional protection, because acting now would force you to confront uncertainty. What if you fail? What if things change? What if you realize you wasted years already? Those questions are uncomfortable, so the brain chooses a safer alternative: delay. Delay creates temporary relief. You don't have to risk embarrassment. You don't have to face rejection. You don't have to confront the possibility that change might actually be necessary. But emotional relief is not the same as peace, because part of you continues carrying the weight of unfinished decisions. And over time, that emotional weight becomes exhausting. Not loudly, quietly. You continue functioning, working, scrolling, distracting yourself, while internally feeling the growing pressure of a life that isn't moving in the direction you know it should.
The strange thing about wasted time is that it rarely feels wasted while it's happening. Most people imagine regret as something dramatic, but real regret usually develops slowly. It hides inside routines that feel harmless. Another comfortable evening, another postponed plan, another month spent thinking about it. And because daily life still functions normally, the mind assumes there's no real danger yet. But repetition changes people. The longer you remain disconnected from meaningful action, the easier it becomes to emotionally settle for less. Less ambition, less urgency, less belief in yourself. Not because your potential disappeared, but because inactivity slowly reshapes your expectations. Eventually, people stop asking, "What do I really want?" and start asking, "What can I realistically tolerate?" That shift happens quietly, and most people don't notice it until years have already passed.
There's also a hidden comfort in believing life will eventually force you to change. That somehow clarity will suddenly appear one day. That motivation will arrive naturally. that confidence will finally feel strong enough. But waiting for emotional certainty is often another form of avoidance, because certainty rarely comes before movement. Most people who transformed their lives were still afraid when they started, still uncertain, still uncomfortable. They simply stopped expecting fear to disappear first. And that's the part many people resist accepting. You may never fully feel ready, not for difficult conversations, not for major decisions, not for becoming a different version of yourself. But the longer you wait for perfect readiness, the more your life becomes shaped by hesitation instead of intention. And eventually, you begin living according to what feels emotionally safe instead of what actually matters to you.
Time creates consequences, whether you act or not. That's the uncomfortable reality many people try not to think about. Doing nothing is still a decision. Waiting is still a direction, and avoidance still shapes your future. The problem is that passive choices feel invisible in the moment. You don't immediately notice what hesitation is costing you. But years later, the emotional evidence becomes harder to ignore. The relationships you never deepened, the opportunities you never pursued, the version of yourself you never allowed to fully exist. And perhaps the hardest realization is understanding that life was not actually stopping you. Fear was. Comfort was. The constant belief that there would always be more time was. And by the time many people finally recognized that pattern, they realized they were never truly waiting for the right moment. They were waiting to stop feeling uncomfortable. At some point, you have to confront a difficult question. If not now, then when? Because time does not pause while you emotionally prepare yourself for life. It keeps moving, quietly, constantly, without asking whether you feel ready yet. And the longer you continue pretending there's still unlimited time ahead of you, the easier it becomes to remain trapped in the same emotional patterns, the same hesitation, the same excuses, the same delayed version of your life. But awareness changes something. The moment you begin recognizing these patterns, you also begin seeing how much of your future is shaped by small daily avoidance, not dramatic failure, just repeated postponement. And sometimes, changing your life begins with a single uncomfortable realization. You may already know what needs to change. If this video felt personal, subscribe to One Choice Away for more videos about psychology, emotional patterns, procrastination, self-awareness, and the quiet behaviors shaping your future. And if part of you is still waiting for the right time, keep watching, because the next decision may matter more than you think.